huge night for Aston Villa in the Champions League, beating Club Brugge 3-1 out here in Belgium. Of course, it's only the first leg of the Champions League round of 16 tie, but ahead of next Wednesday's second leg, Villa are with a huge opportunity to reach the quarter-finals of the Champions League, where either Liverpool or Paris Saint-Germain will be waiting for them. Those two sides face off tomorrow at the Parc des Princes before Anfield hosts PSG next week. That game is played before Villa's second leg, so Villa will know who they're going to play if they get past Club Brugge. Overall, of course, this is only halfway through the tie, but they now have given themselves a massive opportunity, and a 2-goal advantage, I think, is beyond really what Emery would have hoped from the game. He said afterwards that his players carried out the game plan perfectly, and Mings said similar to Villa TV after the match as well, saying that the game is what they expected it to be. Of course, 2 late goals given them that cushion, 2-goal cushion, and Mings completely redeemed himself from a mistake back in November in the league phase defeat out here, same stadium. I did say before the match Villa have 2 big advantages in this tie. The first is that they play secondly at home, and the second one was that they've already played at the Brugge Stadium. They know the atmosphere, they know, it sounds silly, but the dimensions of the pitch, and they know all the they know what to expect. Then there was not going to be any surprises for them, and I think that did catch them out a little bit in November. You know, yes, Mings picked the ball up and a penalty was scored from Hans van Aken, but Villa didn't play very well in that match. They didn't follow the game plan, and Emery said that today they corrected some of the errors and mistakes. Otherwise, then Mings is humble, but other things they didn't do well back in November they corrected tonight. And he did also say that Villa will have to correct more things for the second leg, but he was of course delighted. You can see it in how he kind of carried himself in the press conference. And during the game, of course, Emery was booked. He didn't say much about it in the press conference afterwards, and he was quite animated on the touchline. I think that's because he knew that the game was there for Villa, but equally Club Brugge, they could have left or headed to Villa Park with an advantage even, because if it weren't for Tyrone Mings' crucial intervention when he flicked Van Aken's header wide of the far post, maybe they go on to win their match, and Villa, instead of winning 3-1 tonight, lose 2-1. And this is the difference at the top level. Really fine margins. Villa have come out on top tonight and have that 2-goal cushion to show for what was a strong performance overall. Club Brugge are a really good team. They have some really good players, and this was never going to be a pushover, even though a 3-1. You know, if you look at the scoreline, you must just say Villa have dominated that game. But credit to Brugge, again, to get this far in the competition, to outplay Atalanta like they did. This was never going to be an easy game for Villa, and I think they did really well to manage it in certain parts. They scored from a set piece in the 3rd minute, of course an own goal and then a penalty. But overall, I don't think they deserved... they certainly wouldn't have deserved to lose the match, put it that way. I think it was a very even game, and to come out on top is a bonus. 2 goals, that's an added bonus. And now they go to Villa Park on Wednesday with something to hold on to. Brugge are going to have to come out, they're going to have to play expansively, go for it. It'll be interesting to see if Nicky Hayne sets the team up to go for it from the off, or do they wait for their moment, because they beat Atalanta 3-1 in Italy in the second leg in the knockout phase. But there was a different dynamic there because they had beaten Atalanta, so they're already ahead, and maybe they were picking off space. They certainly did early on, Townley scoring in Atalanta in that second leg. That would be different because Villa are the side who is that's in front. They're going to have to come out, and Villa, you'd like to think, could be able to pick them off on the counter-attack and at least get a goal themselves. So Brugge do have a huge uphill task now. But again, as I mentioned earlier, things can change in football really quickly, and it is all about fine margins. Maybe Villa get a man sent off early on, and that's a big leveller. So this tie is not done whatsoever. Emery was keen to stress that. Mentioned that Atalanta lost 3-1 at home to Brugge, and said that he has experiences of this kind of knockout football and games in these sorts of rounds, is what he said. rounds of competitions at these stages, and he said that his players will also, he's sure have experienced this as well. So Villa won't be thinking that they're through, but they will have huge confidence now to complete the job on Wednesday. And as I say, I think for me the best case scenario was to get out of here with a win by a goal potentially. A draw I think would have been a good result. Obviously a defeat, not ideal, but something that Villa could definitely overturn in front of the home crowd. As I say, Brugge now are going to have to come out, and you fancy Villa, of course, from this stage, especially playing at home. Overall, I think it was a strong performance. I'll kind of go through some players. Martinez made a fantastic save to deny Townley with the game level at 1-1. This was nearly at the end of the first half, towards the end of the first half. Great save from Martinez. I was right underneath it, and you can see how quickly he moved his body across goal and got down to deny the winger. Luca Dean, I think, did well for most of the game to prevent Townley from having the same game that he had against Atalanta in both legs. Actually, really tricky winger, tricky operator. So fair play to Dean for sticking to his task, even though at points Townley would get the better of him. But that's okay, because you have a strong back line in Axel Disasi on the right side, who again really impressed me. Konsa stuck to a task well again. Their striker, is it Ferran Jutgla? I think he just played for Barcelona. Clearly a good forward as well. Certainly at the level that Club Brugge are playing at in the Champions League has caused problems for teams. I think he might have hit the post last season in November. I think Solis maybe hit the post. Maybe it was Jutgla. Anyway, and then Mings winning headers, clearing balls in the box, coming up with an assist for Bailey's goal in the 3rd minute. And then, of course, making that crucial intervention that I spoke of. At the time, I don't think it was given as a corner, and no one really knew what was going on, but clearly something had happened because it looked goal-bound, the header, and it was the faintest of touches from Mings, but so decisive. And again, as I say, those are the fine margins at the top level. If that goes in, this could be a completely different tie, and the complexion is altogether different. And that's why you have to credit Mings so much today, because especially the league phase defeat, and even at the time I think it's difficult because he was clearly unaware that was a goal kick. And I won't go into it now, but even in that game I thought he had a good game, apart from that big error, which it's happened now, and he's redeemed himself. So no one in the future will be looking at that with any kind of regret. Now Villa got through the league phase in 8th. Essentially it didn't matter. If anything, it helped Brugge get into the knockouts, and for Villa to have the bonus of playing them, because at least at this juncture it has helped them, I think, playing a side that they knew how they were going to play again in stadium. They know the atmosphere, that nothing was new for them today or tonight. And it could have gone either way, I think, but in the end Villa leave with a 2-goal advantage, which is a huge bonus. So in midfield, Youri Tielemans and John McGinn, decent games between them. Again, I think Villa did control the match in certain parts of it. McGinn, I think, was important to that, relieving pressure, taking it, weaving his way out as he so often does. Rashford on the left, a bit of a quiet game, I think, for him. There was a few moments in the first half where he looked positive, direct, and then sort of faded out, I think. But this is why Emery made 4 changes just after the hour mark, I think. Jacob Ramsey coming on, making a really good impact. He could have had an assist for Asensio, who also came on, but Asensio's shot was saved by Mignolet. Matty Cash won a penalty, and who else came on? Brugge came on late at the end. There was a couple of other subs, I can't remember for the life of me who came on now. Kamara added more intensity, energy in the midfield when we looked a bit leggy, and again that can be understandable because I think Tielemans and McGinn, was that the 6th match that they've started in a row, maybe the 7th in the double pivot. So those 2 players, you'd expect for Brentford one of them to maybe not drop out of the 11, but you'd expect Kamara to come into the midfield for sure. Watkins up front, I think Joel Ordonez, I think his name is, South American, I think, defender. I think he's a very good defender, and it was always going to be a difficult task for Watkins today to get the better of him. I think he's on for a really good career, that Bruges centre-back. He played really well in the game back in November as well. It was, of course, an own goal when Rodgers pulled the ball across. Rodgers, I don't think he had his best game at all. And but again, we've seen, at least in recent weeks and months, when he's not playing at his best, he still comes up with a contribution that is crucial. And although he didn't get technically didn't get an assist and certainly didn't score, but it was his cross that ended in the back of the net. Rodgers was given man of the match by UEFA. For me, it was Mings. So yeah, Villa 2-goal cushion going into next Wednesday's match. A result, kind of a perfect result, really, perfect scenario. No injuries, of course, as well. That almost counts for. Well, it doesn't count for a goal, but it counts for something, especially when Villa have struggled with injuries for the, what must have been 10 or 12 games now. They've really struggled, and it appeared even it was like every game, every first half almost, that the players were going down. There's a run of 5 or 6 games where Emery had to make a change in the first half or at half time. So if Villa can now go into Brentford really high on confidence in the league, that's a huge match. Then they can focus back on Wednesday, knowing that the job is nearly done. Not done at all, but nearly done. Not completely done, sorry. Brentford, yeah, big game in the league. It's difficult because Villa, you can focus a lot on the Champions League because they're nearly in the quarter-finals. And the FA Cup, they have a shot against a Championship side away from home to get to Wembley. But in the Premier League, they've really... I said this in the pre-match video I did yesterday after Nicky Haynes' press conference, that Villa do need to continue their league. Do need to get back into form in the league, because there's absolutely no guarantee, of course, that you win the Champions League, or any guarantee at all that you win an FA Cup. And Villa haven't won anything for a long time, so there's no suggestion that you're just going to win silverware to get back into Europe. So Villa really do need to sort of pick up now in the league and end this part of the campaign before the match international break on a high. They're nearly, how do I put it, they've given themselves a chance of doing that after tonight's result for sure. Brentford, they don't want to kind of come back down to reality so quickly. You want to hit the March international break with a win at Brentford into the last 16 of the Champions League. Quarter final of the Champions League. And then you come back with, again, a shot at Wembley against Preston. And then you're away against Brighton, and the game's going to come thick and fast after that again. But hopefully by then you've got, pretty much a full set of players. You'd hope. Obviously a few will now go in international break. Not now, sorry. In the March international break, a few players will go after next week's second leg against Brugge. Hopefully no injuries there. And then, of course, a trip to the Middle East for the players who are on international duty, giving them and Emery a chance to drill some tactics into them and work on game plans, and really just kind of, how do I put it, sort of have a look back at what's happened so far in the campaign in the last few weeks and what's going to happen in the last 2 months of the season, because this could be a historic season for Villa. They got a chance at silverware, they got a chance of going even further in the Champions League, and of course in the Premier League they're not far off your Europa League spots, Champions League spots, but that can go quickly because they've got work to do. But yeah, just to cap on tonight, really strong result. The performance, I think for large parts was good. But yeah, fine margins. Villa have come out on top tonight, and they deserve that, I think, because of the performance that they put in. It was good enough to win the game. I think 2-goal advantage maybe flatters them, but ultimately this is knockout football. If you take your chances and you get in these positions, you execute a game plan, no one's going to, how do I put it, you've always got a great chance of earning those rewards when you execute a game plan set by Unai Emery. Very few managers are going to get one over on him in terms of game plans. So if the players follow what he wants on the pitch, odds are you come out on top, and that's what's happened this evening.